Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Altum Network. We're joined by Sir Romero, partner of Baker McKenzie. Sir Romero, thank you very much and welcome. Me, Giovanni Pagano, with Ruggero Pagano, my brother, are the founders of Altum Network, a young reality whose main goal is to inspire and guide our peers through the stories and experiences of successful people. Sir Romero is a partner of Baker McKenzie for almost 32 years. He was also the founder of the offices in the northern Mexico, Tijuana, Monterrey, and Ciudad Juarez. And from 2003 and 2006, he was chosen as Secretario de la Función Pública during the Vicente Fox government. So thank you very much.
Well, I think this is a better view of my face, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We can see better.
I was too dark. Well, and
Sir,
yes.
it's an honor to have the opportunity to talk about your remarkable career. But could you share with us your professional and academic journey that has helped to shape your career? Thank you very much.
Well, I dreamed with being an economist, but and I did go and study in England and in a public school. It was a boarding school, of course, and I was there for one year, and then I went to the Monterrey to keep on studying to follow the economics career. But things changed in my life, and because of my father became ill, and so there was a sort of breakdown in every aspect of my family. So I ended up studying law, and when things of the sort happen, you have to keep on going and make the best out of what you have available. And at the time, the only thing available for me was going to the city of Chihuahua and study law, which I did, and I graduated when I was 24. And 25, I had already my professional authorization to my license to practice law. And very soon, when I was, I think, almost 28, I became a public notary, a notario público in Mexico, for which you have to be a lawyer first. I think you have a similar Latin system. We are inspired in the Italian Constantinian model of notarios públicos as Spain, France, but not the U.S. So I became a notario público. That was 78, 82, I think. I founded with Raúl Jaques and Mr. Romero, who was my uncle, a law firm, which 9 years after was the basis to launch the Baker and McKenzie project, in which Andres Ochoa, a founding partner of this Juarez office, had an important role. And he was part of Baker and McKenzie. And we managed. We thought Juarez had an opportunity for foreign investment, and that the industry and business that came to Juarez needed translation from the legal Mexican system in order to communicate, make communication possible with the with lawyers from a English tradition like Texas, like the U.S. in general, Canada. So we had a good journey, and the law firm grew. In time, what we did, which was we produced services. We provided services that were very necessary, and it was we innovated, so to speak. And so you have to be on the edge of innovation in order to be successful in an environment like that one. And so it was a good experience. Then after that, Mexico had been ruled by one single party, political party, which was the PRI, and it was not democratic. And in the last years, 15, 20 years, the government and the party was part of the government. It wasn't an ordinary political party. It was part of it was like a electoral secretariat. And it was paid and funded by the government. So you couldn't have opposition because it was just simply impossible. You had to go against the whole government. You would not compete with a party in government, but with a party which was it was integral part of the government and had public funds directly in the annual budget. So I come from a generation which thought that was not correct and that had to be corrected. And that's why I agreed to an invitation, Mr. Francisco Barrio, the first opposition governor of Chihuahua ever, to become his lieutenant governor, which is an appointed position. It's not an elected position like it is in the U.S., for example. And so I stayed there almost 6 years. That was a nice experience, good experience. And of course, the challenges we had was how do we change the electoral system in Chihuahua? And so we went ahead and negotiated a new electoral system for Chihuahua, for the state. And it was, I think the second state in Mexico that was walking on that path of change, of a structural change, and many other things that we did in the government. And later on, I went back to my law firm, my private practice. But later on, when President Fox came into office, also, he invited Francisco Barrio. He was a political figure, national stature, and it was the secretary of initially the controllership of. It's like a GAO in the U.S., like a General Administration Office, which performs audits and systems and the control systems, basically, within government. So we, again, Francisco Barrio called me up and said, hey, why don't you come and join the team in order to at least try to organize a project, a program for that secretariat, for that position in government. And so from there we identified different opportunities and areas of development for government. When President Fox comes into government, into office, the challenge is how to make bureaucracy stop thinking that they were automatically part of the party, of the political party. And so we initiated we became part of that government which leaves an old regime and starts a new one, a more democratic in every way. And so, in order to have, we had to transform the government into a democratic organization. For example, we introduced transparency in government, accountability in government by law, and systems, internal systems. And we talked about other good governance practices, like the language the politicians use in their orders, governmental orders or directives and things of the sort, like a civil service, in order to have at least an echelon, a part of the government appointed through merits, and a system in which the traditional personal preferences and outside influence would dominate the designations. In this case, Mr. Fox had a law passed in order to introduce this figure. It hasn't really worked as yet, this civil service initiative. There are many aspects in which it has not been respected. And so it has, in some ways, being annulled in reality. It's a pity. What does remain is transparency. But still, our present government classifies basically 98% of important information within government. It is classified as national security reserved for national security reasons, like the building of a bridge or an airport. And so it has transferred, well, almost half of the important public infrastructure in this president in our present term, in which the military have been in charge of the execution of those public works, and as such, they're classified as reserved under national security reasons, whatever that may be. And so we have done a few things which are important. We think we put the seeds. We saw the plants come out, and we try to nourish them. But of course, right now we have to fight, give a second round fight in order to reinstate fully, to a full extent, those laws that make of the government structure a democratic structure, and not a structure which is at the service of the political party who won the last election, presidential election. So that's basically what we have done. Of course, I think that we are what we think we are, what ideas we have in our mind, the imagery that we keep within our minds is what we are, really. And of course, you have to dream. Dreams are very important, and legitimate ambition is also important. And believe that you can be an instrument of change for good, because there can be change backwards, which is what we have been seeing in what I understand, well, in a better way, which is what's been going on in the government structure. And so a civil service in which you try to find the best qualified men and women to occupy and form part of the bureaucracy that really makes government work, and where the decisions are made, where the analysis is made, where the basic routes are designed for the future. And that, unfortunately, we went back about 70 years in which being a friend is the only reason, and being loyal is the only reason to appoint someone in those levels of government. The rest of the government it's unionized in Mexico, but it's the lower ranks which really have no decision on what the government really does and performs.
That's why we are so interested in your profile, because you're a lawyer, a very important lawyer that also used his experience in the public sector. So for your nation. So for us, it's extremely interesting, this interview. And going back to Maker McKenzie, for us, it's because we love the entrepreneurial side, the entrepreneurial stories that can inspire people and young people like us. So in your opinion, what do you believe that were the main factors that managed to expand the offices of Baker McKenzie in the whole north of Mexico?
Well, there was this opportunity for the maquiladora plants in Mexico, which now occupy around, I don't know, perhaps about 1.6 million people, workers, and along the border, and later on they went south. So yes, I think that to provide a law firm services as part of a law firm with a international set of values, with an international approach, with an attitude to understand the other, not only the other language, but the other legal language, and the traditions. And when you try to make two different traditions to meet at a certain point and harmonize both of them in order to make something possible and happen, and sort of import, in this case, U.S., English, French, Dutch, Swedish traditions into a Mexican environment, legal environment. That was the challenge, and that was a an area of law that grew in all along the border and in Mexico, which still has a lot of has been successful. Now, after some years, our practices, like anything else, kind of become commodities. And that means that you're not alone in the market. Other competitors come in and prices go down, and you have to be aware of the market, and you have to be aware of where the economy is going. And well, we thought always that a good lawyer, a good Baker and McKenzie lawyer, had to be someone who the market identified clearly and considered as a respectable and knowledgeable expert in a certain area of the legal field. And secondly, that he had a base of lawyers who kind of teamed up, and that he had the ability to produce not only his own personal services, but produce and deliver services of the same quality through a good team, organized and a qualified team. And of course, timing is always of the essence. And third, you have to have clients. You have to have a share of the market. The market does not only have to. You don't only need to be recognized by the market. You need to effectively have the clients and you have to provide the services, and you have to produce in a good volume of services. In my case, legal services, in order to really make a profitable practice. And of course, a partner of Baker and McKenzie, like any partner in any law firm, has to become mentor for the younger. And it's her responsibility to be in charge of the hiring process. We always had to be trying to attract the best talent, young talent, and try to shape those talents all the way up. And so I think that that's something very, very important. You have to be a mentor, and you have to be successful. If you're not, in time, you will end up with no team to support your practice. And there's always someone comes in, someone goes out. There will always be that. And one of the basic challenges and dreams we had is we have to make the pie bigger. Because one of the really hard things that we face as a partner in a law firm is to become old and not having been able to make successors, successful successors. That's a very important, and we have to feel responsible for that. It's not only how you get. It's not only in life. It's not only important how do you get in, how do you go up. It's how do you go out. What do you leave behind? I'm a retired partner right now, and I have been retired, I don't know, since I was about 66, and that's about 6 years ago. And that's the tradition of the law firm, and that is important because you have to make room and leave spaces for the new guys, and that's it. We cannot feel owners like we inherit someone to our son or daughter. We have to hire really the best. And well, a good mentor is one of the great challenges in the law firm, to become that. I think that was the. Now we have we're facing a new surge of business in the north of Mexico with the nearshoring, relocalization of industries from China and all in Asia, and the level of constructions that we're seeing in Juarez, and I know along the border, is really important. It doesn't have any precedent in terms of volume and money invested compared to what it was 35, 40 years ago. So we're going to see again a new our market will be bigger, as I can see it right now, if we do things right. Not only a law firm, but also the country as a whole. If you see Venezuela used to have a very successful Baker and McKenzie law firm, office, but right now they're kind of are strangled, and they're smaller and smaller. The environment is not there, so they haven't been able to really keep on growing, and they're going backwards. Argentina has also faced difficult times, and so when you are Latin America is a challenge. It has its own Latin America has its own challenges. We are sometimes still too young.
Thank you very much, Sir Romero. Ruggero, please, if you want to continue with the other questions.
Yes. So Romero, as we could have understood, you are a key figure in the Mexican professional and political scenario. But we would like to ask your advice on our next steps. I mean, in the context of an ever-changing market, what skills and attributes do you think will be essential for young people seeking to remain competitive and successful in tomorrow's world of work? Thank you.
Well, you have to be good and successful and have the critical mass in what you do and the services you provide in order to be successful in every way and for everyone in your team and within the law firm. If only the upper echelons get all the profits and you don't get them down, then it will be very difficult. And that's a patrimonial way of understanding and assuming, in many cases, our legal profession in many law firms, especially in the small ones. But if you open up your mind and try to do really the best thing possible and forward always forward, thinking forward. I think that you have to understand why you have to leave at 65 and not stay there. And of course, when you retire, you make less money as a person. But that's a very healthy practice.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Then, on the other hand, you have to be a productive lawyer yourself. You have to understand the market, the services you're providing, but you have to keep always looking ahead. Always keep looking ahead. What's coming next? How do I keep on the edge of innovation of what's going to be needed by the market in 2, 3, 4, 5 years? How do we prepare for those opportunities out there? And how do we understand which services are becoming commodities and the pricing goes down? Once everyone knows how to do what you do, then even in our case, in-house lawyers can do it, which are, in some way, they're the ones who hire our services. They need us, but they can also compete with us.
And how much do you really care about, about your degree?
The degree?
Yeah, how much it counts to have a good degree rather than the others when you enter in the world of work?
Well, of course, in my case, I studied law in a state university in the north of Mexico, and I didn't have the credentials, so to speak, or the diploma from a big university, one of those very famous in Mexican university. And most of the Mexican partners in Mexico at Baker and McKenzie, they did study, well, wherever, but they went abroad to the U.S. and stayed at least 1.5 years, 2 years studying law, comparative law, and understanding the U.S. legal systems. Others, we learned from scratch in practice, in real practice, practicing. One of my partners, one of the founding partners of the law firm, Baker McKenzie law firm in Juarez, was Raúl Jaques. He's a very attractive character. He studied at the University of Mexico, and he didn't speak English. He never went abroad to study English. But he was hired by a services company which wanted to provide the soft shelter for the coming into Mexico of foreign investment, maquiladoras, basically. And so my good friend Raúl Jaques, also retired, learned to translate into English, working hard, long hours at night, from Spanish to English and vice versa, and understanding the way U.S. lawyers or English lawyers organize their thoughts in order to understand our legal institutions and compare them to their own institutions at home. And so he is a real character, because he never really you could really hear when he spoke English that he had learned English without going to school. And he was a genius.
That's impressive.
Very, very pragmatic, practical guy, hardworking, very hardworking, and always do not ever forget, you have to be a solid, ethical man, mind and base. Always. And more so when you're dealing with foreigners in an international environment in which trust is hard to really get. Yes, trust. And this trust is so easy to come in and destroy everything. So that's something important. You should have told me you would be with a tie and a black suit and everything, and I'm just coming out of the gym. So
it's our duty to be good looking in front of you, Mr. Romero.
well, I should have been advised in advance. But well, it's a Sunday, and usually, well, exercise hours in the morning and all that. A family breakfast, and so I'm here. I'm here for you. Thank you so much for letting me.
We just wanted to thank you very much because we really appreciated your immediate availability. And it was a real pleasure for us to discuss a wide range of topics with you, and from your considerable experience to future prospects. So thank you very much. We appreciate it really a lot.
All right. Well, thank you so much for letting me be in contact with you and share some of my thoughts about how life has been for me, and what inspired me and others to join and share views and form understand a area of the legal profession. Another thing that's important for me that I can share with you is that it's important that you understand a legal profession not just as a personal, we say in Spanish, oficio, with a personal practice. It can also be a business practice, the business of services. Most of my colleagues do not understand the legal profession as a business, but rather as a totally personal profession. Nothing to be shared with others, not to be performed as teams.
So you mean only one lawyer in terms of service directly with only one customer instead of one company?
Right. It's a sort of a patrimonial way of understanding a profession, in the case of the tradition, I think. And it's a different way of understanding the profession when you think of it in this other way, in which, for example, you're willing to step down and go out. And basically you leave everything you did as a partner stays in the firm. It's not yours. You don't take it with you. And that's an important different way of thinking. Understanding that is important.
Well, for sure, you create from the top the offices of Baker McKenzie, but you're not the owner of Baker McKenzie. So you need to pass it. You need to pass it to the newer generation.
When you go in, you know that you are, so to speak, owner, as long as you perform and meet your standards, and your team also meets the standards. and everyone is reasonably successful. And then you know that you will have to leave that in the firm, which is something, a basic issue that you have to take into consideration. And perhaps I hadn't mentioned that.
No, but everything that you're telling us is for us extremely inspiring and motivational. So thank you very much, sincerely, for your time, for your generosity of attention over our young reality, and for us it's only a pleasure to talk to you. So thank you very much.
Europe has many challenges. Also, the whole world is having challenges. China is having problems. Russia is in problem. Deep problems.
What do you believe that can be some links between Europe and Latin America, from Italy to Mexico, in a commercial way, in order to promote not only Mexico, but also to establish some links between Europe and Latin America?
Well, I think that there is a good deal. I mean, for you to come into Mexico or Latin America, you have to identify which part of the market is going out to invest in those areas. And you follow the money, you follow the investment, and you have to provide a package of services that will have your client, Italian or French or Dutch, a soft landing into a different exotic country. I think that's
Yes, for sure.
the way you put your services in the package. Also, it's a very important. It's not cosmetic only, but basically it's a way of understanding. It's a way for a client to understand why you can make it possible to go into a foreign country. For example, Baker McKenzie really becomes an international firm, and it was a Midwest law firm in Chicago. Its founder, Russell Baker, and I think it was Edward McKenzie. Russell Baker was born in Vegas, New Mexico, small town, small small town, 300 people, and a very small village. And his mother gave him the money to pay the train to go to Chicago. And that was it. And he worked his way up through school, as I did myself. After coming back from England, thereon I had to work and study at the same time. And so Russell Baker did. He was even sometimes he was a boxer to make ends meet financially. And so he founded this law firm with McKenzie and Russell Baker. And one of the best clients they had, Abbott Laboratories, asked them to travel with them in order to set an operation in Venezuela. And the Venezuelan office is the first law firm, Baker McKenzie law firm, outside Chicago. And there was this Malcolm, I don't recall his last name, but Malcolm was his name, traveled, one of the partners from Baker McKenzie in Chicago, traveled to Venezuela in order to understand the culture and the legal system and all that. And then they were influential at Georgetown in order to have the first LLMs for comparative law for foreign lawyers to come into the U.S. Georgetown had the first program, postgraduate program, as to have they call it a master's in comparative law here, just 1 year. And, they had a dream. And they pursued their dream. And many others did, along with them, like myself.
It's truly inspiring. Roger, I don't know if you have any more questions.
I just want to ask you some suggestion for me, because I'm an economics student. I don't study law, but I'm on the first year, and I already want to enter in the world of work, but I don't know in which way. I don't know, and really in which sector. I don't know how to identify my ideal sector, where I really want to work. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, you have to be very Socratic. You have to know yourself. And you have to go deep inside and understand what you are and what you like and what you don't. And where your dreams are. And once you set goals, then you can try to find a way up to get there. And if it's impossible, well, forget about it. Just, you have to have a dream that is high enough, but also achievable. Yes, the area, specifically the area, sometimes the areas are chosen by hunches, by intuition. And there's also the trial and error. Life is a trial and error process. So you go into a field of business, of economics or legal services, and you understand what you do really like and what you don't like, and what would you rather do. And it's something you'll find it. But look inside you, deep. And also look around. It's not only you, it's how you insert yourself into that exterior reality. And what are the opportunities? What area of business is going down? Which one is going up, and why? Will it stay there, or is just just public?
Got it. Thank you very much.
All right.
So, Mr. Romero, for us, it was a real pleasure to talk with you, and we hope that if Altum Network decides to have another chat on some legal things, we would love to have you as our guest again. So thank you very much, and we hope that we can meet one day in Ciudad Juarez or in Palermo here in Europe. I don't know, but I hope that we can meet. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much to you all.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
day.
Goodbye.